Hey, Talk well. The whole situation. What do you think Talk brings to this Flyers group? We obviously love the hire and the whole thing. What do you think is the sauce, though, that Talk will bring?
Well, I think one thing, I think people respect him around the league. Players respect him. Players, agents respect him. So I think he's going to bring an attractiveness to Philadelphia that maybe wasn't there in recent years. If a player, I'm not saying like the idea of attracting
Yeah.
free agents. Okay, how many guys actually get to unrestricted free agency that are impact players? Not a lot anymore. It's not that but it's players that have, say there's a trade possibility and a
Yes.
player has Philadelphia on his no list. Now that Talk's here, they might be like, you know what? I'll remove Philadelphia off the no list. I'll go to Philly because they know what they're getting in a guy like Talk. He's a guy's guy. He can talk. You can talk to him. He's real. He understands. He's been in every situation that player can understand. He's been a fourth liner. He's played with top players. He's been pushed out the door. You know what I mean? He's been an all-star. He's played for Canada Cups. Every area you could think of, and as far as being a player, he's been there. Trust me, he gets it, and he empathizes with the player. He will hear, but at the end of the day, he'll give it to you straight. And I think that's what players appreciate about Talk, and I think that's why it's a good hire for the Flyers at this point.
And I think he'll let Michkov be Michkov. Like he'll realize, like, hey, listen, the kid's such a gifted offensive player. Like I'm not gonna wear on him. About playing both ways.
Think about his time in Pittsburgh when he was an assistant coach when they won those cups, right? He had to deal with Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
Malkin can be a temperamental guy. He can be a guy that's difficult to handle. And Talk was able to handle that, make sure everything was cool for him, right? Yet cool for everybody else. Talk understands it. He knows how to read people. He knows how to talk to people. He's good that way. Trust me. Like I know him. He knows how to handle those tough situations and handle those players. He's not going to give Michkov's not going to be able to do whatever he wants.
Right.
But he's going to have some latitude for sure.
Yeah.
So that we can see what he can truly be.
Last thing for me, what have these playoffs kind of taught you about the rebuild for the Flyers, right? Like, Jonesy and Danny, and you go, all right, I just saw these playoffs. What does it mean for how I construct this roster?
Well, that's a good question. I think if you look at the teams that are successful, you need centers, number one. You need puck moving D. You don't necessarily need a stud goalie, but you need goaltending that is solid enough to get you through. But you've got to have players that embrace a style of game that is hard to play, and sometimes it's not translatable to regular season hockey. There's a different game that takes place in the regular season at times versus the playoffs. And if you look at Florida's roster, like a guy like Sam Bennett, for example, he's what, a 50-point guy probably in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he probably averages a point per game. He's probably close to a point per game average in the playoffs. He raises his level of play because the style that he plays into the way he likes to play. Whereas in the regular season, it doesn't always translate. So I think you have to be understanding that there are certain players that can get you to the playoffs, and then there's certain players that you need to have in the playoffs. And if you can get a blend and a fuse of those types of players that understand the savvy to understand that there's a certain game that maybe you got to play in the regular season versus the playoffs, and you can flip the switch, you've got a really good player there. But if you don't, then you got to make sure you have players that can get you to that point. And I think for the Flyers, I mean, they've got guys that are learning to play that way. Certainly, I think the way their games are not easy. Trust me, because when they win games, you watch them. I mean, it's like you're squeezing the lemon as hard as you can, every last juice out of it to get them to. So I think they got that part of it. I think what they need is just a little bit more skill to make some of those regular season games not as stressful and as taxing, so that when they get to the playoffs, I think they've got some guys that are learning to play a hard game what it takes to win in the playoffs. I think guys like Noah Cates and Tyson Forster, they're learning that. I think they get it, and I think we get those guys into the play. They'll be good playoff players. They just need a little bit more talent that can get them through the regular season. So those guys aren't grinding so hard, like to get to the play. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
you are.
You need good players.
Yeah.
You need good players to get you there, and then those guys can be like in the playoffs. You'd be like, man, that guy was amazing. And it's like, yeah, he can't do that for 82 games. So that's and whoever's going to sign Sam Bennett, I don't know where he goes. Someone's going to be, they're going to sign him and he's going to sign for good money. I think he's going to stay in Florida. That's my opinion. He should, at least. But if he goes to, say, Toronto or whatever and gets 8-9 million a year and he gets 50 points and people in the regular season are bitching him because he's got 50 points and he's a $9 million player, it's like, wake up. He's not a regular season guy. He's going to rise to the occasion in the playoffs. That's where you're going to see his value. But someone's going to sign him if that happens, and they're going to, you watch, so you're going to see some article, they're going to be mad about the fact that he's not an 80-point guy. That's who he is. So, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense,
No,
but that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.